Good evening, everyone. Welcome back, future lawyers, to day 22 of our bar review. I hope you all had a restful and restorative break yesterday. We are now exactly 167 days away from the bar examinations. Today, we continue classifying the kinds of subject matter jurisdiction. We are moving from the timeline of a case to the scope of a court's power. General versus special jurisdiction. Our guiding verse for today is 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 4. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. In our judicial system, there are different kinds of courts with vastly different scopes of power, some broad, some highly restricted, but they all derive their authority from the same spirit of the law. But before we tackle this classification, it has been exactly 3 days since day 80. It is time to officially resolve the bar question I left you regarding the doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction. Here is the question we left hanging from our day 80. Peter validly filed a case in the RTC. While the trial was ongoing, Congress passed RA 11576 transferring jurisdiction over his claim amount to the METC. David wanted the case dismissed because the RTC was supposedly ousted of its power. Should the RTC grant the dismissal? Let us reveal the suggested answer using our beer method. If your draft looks like this, give yourself full points. First, the binary. No, the RTC should not grant the motion to dismiss. Second, the enabling law. Jurisprudence provides that under the doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction, once a court validly acquired jurisdiction over a case, it retains it until the case is disposed of, even if subsequent legislation transfers such jurisdiction to another court. Third, the evaluation. Here, the RTC validly acquired jurisdiction over the collection case exceeding 300,000 filed by Peter, so it retains such jurisdiction even if the subsequent enactment of RA 11576 transferred such jurisdiction to the MTC by expanding its jurisdictional amount to 2 million pesos. And finally, the resolution. Thus, the RTC should not grant David's motion to dismiss. This is a guaranteed full credit answer. Notice how the evaluation explicitly waives in the exact figures 300,000 and 2 million, proving to the examiner that you actively apply the facts to the doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction without having to guess outside the problem. Now, let us proceed to today's main topic. To properly digest the difference between general and special jurisdiction, we will use our 4-level analytical framework, the Bar Syllabus. First, the big picture, recalling how this classification shaped our court system. Second, the essential pillar, where we explicitly define and visually contrast the scope of general versus special courts. Third, the elemental principle, where we look at the specific examples like the RTC versus quasi-judicial bodies. And lastly, the root level, looking at the landmark Supreme Court ruling regarding special commercial courts. For our big picture, we must remember that subject matter jurisdiction is a matter of substantive law. The legislature purposefully creates different courts with different scopes of authority. Some courts are designed to handle almost everything, ensuring no legal wrong goes without court. Other courts are heavily restricted, designed to handle only highly technical, specific disputes to prevent them from being clogged with ordinary cases. This brings us to the concepts of general and special jurisdiction. Moving down to our essential pillar, what is general jurisdiction? Look at the image on your screen. General jurisdiction is the glowing golden master key. It is the power of the court to adjudicate all controversies except those that the law expressly and specifically withholds from it. A court of general jurisdiction has the competence to decide on its own jurisdiction and take cognizance of all kinds of cases, civil, criminal, and special proceedings. If you have a novel legal dispute and no law specifies where it should go, it goes to the court holding this master key. On the other hand, what is special or limited jurisdiction? Look at the second image to contrast with the first. Special jurisdiction is not a master key. It is a silver precision key. It restricts the court's jurisdiction to hear only particular cases. Courts or tribunals of special jurisdiction are completely incompetent to decide anything outside their explicit statutory grant. If you try to use this silver key to open an ordinary door, it will fail. They only wield power over specific high-tech vault the legislature designed them for. Now we reach the elemental principle. How does this apply to our Philippine courts? Look at the open amphitheater on your screen. The regional trial court is our court of general jurisdiction. As a rule, all cases that are not specifically provided for by law to be within the jurisdiction of any other court automatically fall under the jurisdiction of RTC. It is an expansive, open space for justice. It acts as the ultimate catch-all court. Conversely, look at the judge inside the enclosed glass dome. This represents special courts and quasi-judicial agencies. Courts like the family courts, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan are courts of special jurisdiction. Furthermore, administrative agencies like the SEC or the DARAB are tribunals of limited jurisdiction. They are trapped inside that glass dome. They can only hear the exact technical matters granted to them by their enabling laws. If an ordinary civil dispute tries to enter that dome, it will simply bounce off because the tribunal lacks the subject matter jurisdiction. Before we proceed to our root level, let us hit the pause button. Close your eyes for a brief moment. Actively recall the visual metaphors we just discussed. What does the golden master key represent? Yes, general jurisdiction. The power to hear almost anything. What does the silver precision key represent? Special or limited jurisdiction. What court is represented by the vast open amphitheater? The RTC, our catch-all court. Open your eyes. Excellent recall. Let us lock these concepts in. Let us bring this down to the root level with a highly testable 2016 Supreme Court ruling on Concordia Condominium versus Bacolod. To promote efficiency, the Supreme Court frequently designates certain branches of the RTC to act as special commercial courts or family courts. In this case, an ordinary civil action was mistakenly raffled to an RTC designated as a special commercial court. The defendant immediately filed a motion to dismiss, arguing that the court had special jurisdiction and therefore lacked the power to hear an ordinary civil case. The Supreme Court completely rejected this. The court ruled that despite its special designation, an RTC remains a court of general jurisdiction. The designation is merely a matter of administrative procedure and case distribution. It does not strip the RTC branch of its statutory master key. It can absolutely hear and try a non-commercial case. To wrap up our discussion today, here is a highly possible bar question directly testing the Concorde condominium doctrine. Let us read it. X Corporation filed an ordinary civil action for collection of an unpaid loan of 5 million pesos against Y Incorporated. Due to a clerical error, the case was mistakenly raffled to an RTC branch specifically designated by the Supreme Court as a special commercial court. Y Incorporated immediately filed a motion to dismiss on the ground of lack of subject matter jurisdiction, arguing that the special commercial court exercises only limited jurisdiction and cannot hear a simple collection suit. Should the motion to dismiss be granted? I will leave this question with you as your assignment. Remember the open amphitheater and what happens to the artist's master key when it gets a special designation. Draft your best beer-style answer, and following our 3D rule, we will reveal the suggested answer on day 25. Before we officially end today's session, remember 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 4. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. Whether a court has general or special jurisdiction, its ultimate goal is the same: the fair administration of justice. Thank you for joining me on day 22. Keep up the momentum, and I will see you in our next session.